Hey family, your nephew Willie Moore Jr., the one who always gives you family-friendly entertainment, is here to say that this conversation requires you to be 18 years of age. It's a conversation that needed to be had with the one and only Larry Reid. Let's go. Like COVID wiped out a lot of great ministries who are attempting to build back.
That's when I made my first $1 million in 45 days.
You made $1 million in 45 days.
I would generate it every 45 days. $1 million. $1 million. So COVID for me changed my life.
Love you more, love you more, love you more.
Family, listen, your nephew Willie Moore Jr., welcome to another amazing Love You More show, okay? Of course, I would love to call it a podcast, but who knows where this thing is gonna go. I know you watched last week's episode, and shout out to everybody, all the people who are on Patreon who decided to like really give to the opportunity. Make sure you do me a favor. Make sure you subscribe to this channel because it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a really, really great ride, all right? And so today, I'm sitting down with a guy who I really honor and respect, right? I won't lie to you. I remember I was about to go on his show and they was like, you about to go where? I was like, man, I'm about to go see this guy, Larry Reid. And they were like, man, you know how he is at this, that, and other. And so y'all know I'm from the neighborhood. And I was just like, but nah, we ain't gonna get that. And I was like, if he do something to me, then it's on. Then I walked in, he was like 6'2". And I was like, oh man, I'm gonna need backup because I can't whoop him, right? But the one and only Larry Reid is gonna hang out with me today, and I'm so thankful. And we're gonna have a really good, candid conversation. The one and only, ladies and gentlemen, Larry Reid. What up, champ?
What's up, man?
Man, listen, just glad that you here, number one. The Love You More series is really designed because I realized throughout my life, my career, I fell in love with the lights. I fell in love with being a father. I fell in love with being a husband. I fell in love with being a great friend. But somewhere along the way, like I lost the love for myself. And so my goal with the Love You More series is more so just to let people know, like, it's okay to love yourself. You know, the Bible declares that we are to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. And I feel like sometimes people do not love themselves. I know you ain't get a chance to watch the Love You More series, but it's a video that I want you to see because I know you're a former musician.
Okay.
Or you still doing music too?
I still do music. I have a style.
All right, cool. Well, I'm going to let you check out this video. You let me know musically what you think, but there's a part in it that I got to ask you about too.
Okay,
check this out.
All right.
Love you more, love you more.
Time waits for no man, but if I could turn back the hands of time, I would do you better. I just want you to know the love I have for you is like the clockwork. It never stops. This is Lag Out.
Now I am not a mind reader, but I can tell you're lonely, overlooked. But what's funny is I put a ring on your finger. We both said I do, but we both know the truth. And lately we've been feeling single, we don't take the time to love each other right. Preachers say we need communication. Tonight let's speak some love language. Oh, first off, since we said I do, in the sight of God we can do what we do. Second off, we don't need no phone. We don't waste time too long. So let me love you like clockwork. Tick-tock, tick-tock, like clockwork.
Take that route. So the scene there, like just to give you a little preface, initially we go to counseling.
Yeah.
So we have been going through a whole lot. It's a record called Clockwork. And then finally counseling is actually good for us. So we ended up, playing a little basketball, poking and laying up. Yeah. And then I ended up going to work. And what happens is, it's something about that job when you have a dream. Yeah. But then you still got a job. Has Larry Reid ever had a job?
Have I ever had
like
a
job, like
when I was a
white
child.
boss?
When I was a child.
So you've always been an entrepreneur?
That's from 17. Yeah. I left my parents' home at 17 years old. And I was working a regular job prior to that. Okay. But it was always in conjunction to what it is that I was gifted to do. So I was a church drummer, organist, choir director, taught voice.
Mhm.
So that was my main thing.
Okay.
And then I had to get a job on the side just so my daddy won't feel like I'm being lazy,
Mhm.
and have a regular job. So I worked at Hardee's, Arby's, Shoe Show, manager there, hotel, worked all these different places.
Yeah.
But when I left at 17 years old, I just focused on what it is I could do. And at that time was be a church musician and train the choirs. And then I got into preaching and then started pastoring. So that's...
So you like traditional pastor?
Yeah, traditional pastor for 20 years. I stopped that in 2017.
So like on the circuit pastor.
Yeah, and preaching and books and preaching that country, that state. I mean, that was what I did. Itinerant minister. And then had been a pastor of one main church. But there were other churches that I had to fly to and preach at, that was in my organization. Yeah.
So what was that? So hanging out with Larry Reid. So what was... Like, that's a totally different, like, from, like,
I see
the Larry Reid who be like, if you frucking, to this guy. So was your father a pastor? Was mama a pastor? Like, I wanted to really kind of know, like, Larry Reid.
My parents are pastors, but when I was coming up, they weren't. It was just my mama singing with her sisters, a female quartet group out of North Carolina called the Fleming Sisters.
Okay.
And so that's what they done all my growing up. Yeah. And then my father, he was a drug addict, then later on he got saved and then he started preaching and pastoring. So I saw all of that range happen as relates to my parents. And that's how I was raised. And then all of her sisters, they speak in tongues, prophesy, and all of her first cousins, they all preachers, so that's where I come from. But then my daddy's side, the brothers, they're a little different.
Yeah, they're a little different.
They're a whole lot different. But my mama's side is the spiritual side, but I was raised in that my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're in this thing and you're doing your thing. Were you profitable in it, or were you like a storefront dude who just wasn't really necessarily getting...
Started out storefront.
Okay. And no disrespect to nobody who started the storefront, but after 20 years, like sometimes you want to expand your brand.
Yeah, there ain't nothing wrong with starting out or being storefront. Right. I mean, there's a ministry in that too, but I knew I was called to more. Yeah. And so that's how it started. Okay. But when I switched from traditional pastoring, the church was doing very well. Yeah. But I just knew that I was called to do something else. And it was at, Dr. Holly Carter?
Yes.
And Dion Franklin. And who else came? Robbie. Yeah. She was there. And there was somebody else that was there significant. She had this thing called the Merge Summit.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so I went to the
in LA.
one. Yeah. I didn't go to that one, though. That was too far. No, I didn't know, because it didn't have the Stellars. That was Vegas.
Yeah. So
I went to that one. Okay. But the one that I heard the Spirit say, move to Atlanta, that was in 2015. Okay. Now, mind you, I'm pastor in North Carolina. So that was June or July. Yeah. And it was the day after the last Bobby Jones gospel taping, because we had performed there for the last one, the very last one. Okay. And then I drove back home, and then I heard about the summit, and I got in the car and drove her back and went to her event. And so when I went there, that's when I got that call to go into entertainment and move to Atlanta, which made no sense. Don't like the heat, don't like the South.
Oh, you don't like this? Yeah,
no, I didn't. So it was, I did not, and I only came to Atlanta to perform. I came to that station 54, the one where everybody go sing at. Yeah. That TV show.
At the local joint. Yeah, the Atlanta
so
54
I went there, I was pushing the single. I pushed that single. I even came and sat down with Darlene one time, and I went everywhere, all the Radio 1, doing what every gospel artist do. Yeah. But I was not foreseeing what happened. Yeah. I just knew what I heard was to move to Atlanta and get into the entertainment industry.
So is that like an audible voice, or is just like something on the inside? Well, like, so here's the thing. Like, I understand the voice, but I want to make sure that they understand it. So even when I was Pretty Willie, and I'm doing these shows, and one night I'm just got off the House of Blues. DJ Quick opened up for him. Game there. I looked down. It's this little 15-year-old dude that just came out. He was in a Rolls Royce, and I said, "Hey, Chris!" And it just so happened to be Chris Brown, because he was a kid. And I just remember the voice saying, "Your way or my way," and it was like a shocker to me. So what was the voice like for you that kind of told you, because things seemingly are doing good?
Well, I'm used to hearing the voice of the Lord, so at that particular time, it was his voice. If I will break it down, if anybody was like, so I don't know if this voice is the Lord or what. for me, in the beginning, the voice of the Lord sounded like the authorities in my life that represented God. So when I first began to hear the voice of the Lord, it would sound like mom, sound like dad, sound like my Bishop L.L. Stevenson. It would sound like Reverend Odell Forbes, my mom and them pastor I was listening to growing up. It sounded like them. Then as time went along, it began to sound like a very adult me. Like somebody, like I had grown up and became very elevated, and that voice was speaking to me from the future and telling me what was the will of God. So that still is typically the voice that I hear, but then sometimes it is totally different than anything I could imagine. But in that moment, it sounded like me from the future that was saying, you need to get your ass up and go and move to Atlanta right now because you're about to come to the peak where you at. And you got to grow some more.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was in 2015, June. In August, I was in Atlanta, August the 27th, 2015.
What happened to the people that were supporting you in the ministry?
I was still going back and forth. I didn't move to church. I just
you double dip.
Yeah, I just moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
And then drove back and forth every single Sunday. Every Sunday.
So what did it look like? What did it look like for Larry when you had to make the hard decision?
It was hard. I mean, hard is hard. I mean, it was real hard. Because we were doing very well. And I was just going to continue to drive back and forth. And I was in service. At the time I was married. Lisa was sitting beside me and was in worship like normal. And I've always had a real strong online presence, which basically began in 2003. So when I began to get this leading to move to Atlanta, in that service, I got a picture of all of that time being online. And the Spirit said, take all of this and put it online.
Wow.
I said, how do I do that? Put a whole church online.
Did you know like computers and all of that stuff?
I mean, we done live streaming. We had e-members, cool. So we had that duality that most churches were forced to do in 2020. But it said, put it online. And I just started trying to figure it out. So I started doing worship, prophecy, because my church was big on prophecy, personal prophecy. My soul seed, prophesy to them.
Okay.
And all of that online. November 2015 is when we started. And I shut down the church.
The physical building.
Okay. And I had an unction. 2020, the church is going to change forever. So I started telling my show, Larry Live, started as talking about the church is going to change in 2020. And everybody needs to build online. This is 2015, November.
You tell them
it's still online. Yeah, it's still online. So when my show first started, the only thing I talked about was getting out of the four walls of the church, graduating, it was my exact word, graduating the four-wall experience. And for churches to begin to build a presence online by 2020. So that was how the Larry Live show started.
Jeez.
And then as I started talking, the comment section were asking me questions about what had happened. And so then I would look on the news and see what happened, and I would talk about it.
Right.
You know, anything that blogger, the Kojic light-skinned dude, yes, anything that
what his name was?
Obnoxious.
Mr. Obnoxious. Okay.
Anything he would put out, I would just talk about it. And then anything any person put out, I would just talk about it and say whatever I felt concerning it.
Yeah.
And then it just grew. I mean, it just got crazy. I'm like, wow, how did this happen? We've done it for the first 2 years, 16, 17, because my ex-wife, my former assistant were all on my show with me. It was 3 of us.
Oh, so you had like co-hosts and everything?
Yeah, I started out talking. There was feed questions. Vincent was feed questions. Okay. And then I brought my ex-wife on, and this became a 3-part show. Yeah. But then in March of 2018, he was the last to leave. My ex-wife, of course, we divorced. And then she went her way and married somebody else. And then
I didn't know she married someone.
Yeah, she married someone. When you done an interview at the house.
Oh, that was you was like, tell them about what you did with
Yeah, because she divorced, got with somebody else, took the kids. That busted up. She sent the kids back and then lived a single life for a year before she came back to help me with the church. Yeah, that's what she did.
Jeez.
Yeah, when you came there, everything was peachy. Yeah. But that ain't how it was. She ain't come back to June 2020. Yeah.
So do you think that you took her back because there was something on the inside of you that didn't necessarily love Larry the way you should have? Because you're like a totally different guy now. Like, why were you so grateful for a person who made a decision?
You know, now how real you want me to be? Okay, I'm gonna tell you.
Safe. Like
the
100.
reality is this. that church thing get deep, deep down in you. And my parents are like 40-something years married. Everybody in my family, you do not divorce.
Yes.
And I really think even sitting right here in the chair, I still, on some level, believe that, and it's in me.
Yeah.
So I'm done with marriage. That's how I feel. It would have to be an act of God for me to get married again. I don't think I'm just going to be in a very selective way when that time comes again. Because I have a dollar amount I got to get to, and then after that, then I'm going to think about having a partner after that. But yeah, right now, I'm done. I ain't splitting up with nobody. And I ain't living in a bedroom with nobody, sharing no bathroom, no toilets. I'm done.
Gee, so here's the thing. Like, I appreciate you being really, really honest about that. But because it's the love you more piece, like what I've learned kind of going through my process in divorce, like when I look back, like I allowed so much because just like you, like I was adopted. I mean, not that you were adopted, but I was adopted. I seen two people like work it out. They've been married for 50 years. I had never like even seen an argument that didn't end with like, well, F. And then they'd be like, okay, cool, let's watch TV. Like nothing was really drawn out. Like I had never seen anything like this. Not necessarily like people who were in church Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We went on Sunday sometimes, you know, and then, like you know, I didn't grow up that way. And so I realized that I had this beautiful picture in my head of what I thought marriage should be. And I was willing to do whatever it took to make sure that everybody was just okay. But when I look back at it through like therapy and counseling, I was like, man, I might not necessarily have loved myself to be able to endure some of the things that I had to endure.
To answer your question, yes, that is true. I took not just her back, but I took a whole community back. Because mind you, when I started doing the Larry Live show, I was a traditional pastor. I didn't have no tattoos, didn't have no earring. They had I
got to see them pictures.
Yeah,
y'all put the picture on the screen.
You know, I was real traditional. You know,
did you hoop too?
Yeah, I mean, I
know he's all right.
I still preach, you know, and I still pastor, but not that way.
Okay,
you know, so it was hard for everybody to adjust. Although I had been talking about going outside the 4 walls of church for the last 10 years of pastoring traditionally.
Yeah,
don't listen.
Yeah,
you know, so when I did it. Like, oh my God, what pastor doing? And so everybody got real crazy. You know, so I was basically left on my own and to fend for myself, even people that I had helped and given my blood to. You know, so I found myself in an apartment with one of the members still living with me. And I had a moving white chick in my room. Well, not my room. It was my room in the other side of the apartment to split the bills. My Mercedes was repoed, you know.
Wow.
So I like came all the way down. It may not be rock bottom to everybody listening to us, but it was rock bottom
for you. Yeah, no doubt.
And I was by myself, you know, so, and I had this Larry Live show. I mean, people were watching online, but, you know, I was Ubering. This is 2018. I was Ubering, substitute teaching, and doing Larry Live. And I was doing Larry Live. My feet was on my bed because my bed was not in my room. It was the floor. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So you sitting there, what does the vision look like? So I remember you told me a little story about kind of what you had to do while God was downloading the entire vision.
Yeah.
But I was in the mansion. That wasn't the place where it was?
No. No. My Larry Live show started to take its form, as far as with me on my own, March of 2018 at Emily Buckhead Apartments.
Emily Buckhead Apartment.
Yeah, that's where it started. Yeah. And it was 3 of us living at the split of the bills. The white chick name was Lisa, but not my Lisa.
Okay.
And Kendall and me. And so we split up.
Yeah.
And I just knew how to birth out something out of the spirit. I mean, because you've been working the years in the church as a prophet, you know how to deal with spiritual things.
Yeah.
So I said I need to trigger my brain and my spiritual brain with pictures. So I put my emblem all over my room.
The Larry Reid logo.
Yes, and I put Atlanta, New York, LA. I put a picture of a condo, a huge mansion, Mercedes Maybach, and another car I had up there. But I put
probably the one you got.
So
probably the Rolls Royce.
No, it wasn't Rolls.
That one hadn't came out yet.
No, it hadn't. Actually, the color hadn't come out yet. Yeah. But But I did get the Maybach, but I sold it. Yeah. But all of that, and it was all around. And I would just look at it every single day. I mean, I couldn't go anywhere in my room area and not see the Larry Live logo and everything that I was hoping to do. Mm-hmm. And so I stopped doing substituting and driving Uber the last week of May of 2018. Yeah. And I said, I'm just going to do this Larry Live thing. I see how many shows it takes for me to get a $400 check a month. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to double that. And I'm going to double it on Facebook. I was monetized. Mm-hmm. And that'll cover my part of the rent. And I'm just going to do the show every single day. And that's what I do. I done it every single day until November 2020.
So when did it switch? So, just kind of fast forward in the story just a little bit. Because I never knew. I met Larry Reid from somebody else. It was just like, everybody kept saying, because if Larry Reid get it, that nigga passed the worst nightmare. I was like, what? Like, who is Larry Reid?
Well, what's funny though, I never broke a story. I have never broke a story. I always talk about what somebody else is already talking about. But I get the credit for being this big, oh my God, but that wasn't the case.
That's the hand of the Lord though.
Yeah, but I didn't realize that was the case because you working like that, your head is down working.
Exactly.
I'm barely going to the mall. So it wasn't until I ain't come out the house really until about November 2020. Mm-hmm. I started going and that's when I was like, okay, now this is really a big deal because I can't go nowhere. Yeah. Everywhere I go, I get stopped. Yeah. But it wasn't, that wasn't what I can't say that's what I was going for. I just wanted to make impact and I wanted people to talk about the stuff they ain't talking about that they need to be talking about. That was my goal. So did you
always feel like that as a pastor? Like sometimes why do I have to be so polished? Why do I have to be so clean? Why isn't it not that that part is fake, but there's so many different layers. I often say people are onions and so there's many layers to them.
Well, for me, I'm not going to call it fake, but to me it is. So I never was that as a pastor. My members knew the Larry Live y'all meeting now. They would get that on Wednesday nights. So
it's like Bible study.
Yes. So they were, and sometimes in pulpit on Sunday because I'm me all the time. Yeah. But they would get that. They understood that. Mm-hmm. But the world, the videos I was putting out there was just for me prophesying, casting out demons, that kind of. So that's the only thing they knew Apostle Reid for. They did not know me. Yeah. And so when I began to talk on the show, it was like, what in the hell has happened? Where is Apostle Reid? What?
I know you didn't get no invites.
Oh, I ain't need them. I never needed that because I was always, and I'm not boasting, but it's the truth. Systems are very important. Okay. And so I always have operated in a system that was self-sustaining. So as 20 years as a traditional pastors, when you hear, there's certain gospel artists that came to my church and I wrote them a check, we didn't have to raise a dime because I understand systems and how to get people to perform to the peak of their performance. So you're talking about 150 people in the mother church who was able to do a $40,000 a month budget. That's how I always operated. So I brought all of my business sense to social media. So when people who were making $50,000 with 1 million subscribers, I was doing $50,000 with 30,000.
More Love You More podcast after this.
Here, I'm 18 years old, and I know as a preteen and as a teenager, a lot of us be going through the same issues together. So as this mentorship, I want to make sure that we all can be a family together and come together as a community and make sure that we can all solve our issues with each other. We're going to laugh, we're going to cry, we're going to do it all together. So make sure you sign up today.
Love you more, love you more, love you more.
Now back to the Love You More podcast.
That's how I always operated. So I brought all of my business sense to social media. So when people who were making $50,000 with 1 million subscribers, I was doing $50,000 with 30,000, because I understood how to get it done. Yeah. And that's how I was able to get where I am now because I just used my common sense.
How do you get that done?
How did I get it?
And I know we turned a little bit. Shout out to everybody watching. Because it's a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Like for me, I might have had a goal for 25,000, 30,000. And then I'll be like, well, we ain't got to be as consistent there because I can go on the road and do boom, 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 boom. So if we get down to it, like what systematically helped you as a ministry? Because it like COVID wiped out a lot of great ministries who are attempting to build back.
That's when I made my first $1 million in 45 days.
You made $1 million in
I will
45 days.
I will generate it every 45 days. $1 million.
$1 million
So
every 45
COVID
days.
for me changed my life.
$1 million every 45
Every 45 days. It's true. Yes. So partnership is everybody's, any entrepreneur think partner. Do not think customer. Always think partner.
Yes, sir.
And so when you're on social media, you're there to create partnership. The engagement should lead to partnership. The viewer, you have to take it from a viewer to a partner. And once you do that, by just really working the engagement, that person, every person I meet and I generate a relationship with, I'm going to be extremely resourceful to them and they're going to be extremely resourceful to me. And that partnership just caused both of us to become more and more wealthy. And that's what I do.
Yeah.
And so when...
That's the key. That's a jewel right there.
It's the key.
I feel like I need my bill.
It's to create partnership.
Yeah.
And once you meet somebody's need, they're going to help you meet yours. It's change over and over.
Have you ever... So hey, there go my bill. Thank y'all. Y'all can come in too. It don't matter. We cool. This ain't that. This two friends having a conversation because don't nobody get to meet the business guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so here's the thing. When I first came over, like I didn't know what it was. I'm just fearless. So I don't know. Like I'm just like, yo, like I'm always looking for the next opportunity to connect with somebody. And like my children, those my road dogs. So we rolling. And it was like, yo, I really like Larry, I like the family. Can we come back? And it was almost like a family reunion the first time. Like it was like, take them kids up there. And Larry had them over there. And we was having fun and doing all of that. And I was like, wow,
my children have asked about your children actually.
Yeah, like it was like something very unique. I do got to know this because I watch how you do certain people. One of which I was gonna call you and be like, man, don't even worry about that part because I don't like this particular guy. So it's this dude in New York.
Oh, I know he's talking about.
Yeah, and I was just like, come on, man, you ain't really about that pedigree. So what has been the worst like threat or like, do you get death threats and all that other stuff being so like in the forefront of almost kind of the most reckless stuff?
I'm gonna say something and it's gonna irritate some preachers.
Yeah.
They're all punks.
Wow.
Every last
So ain't nobody never stepped to you?
No, what they gonna do? You gonna be bulletproof? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
I'm the saved one. I mean, so it's like all you're gonna do is talk. And all of them have tried to negotiate to pay me off.
To keep you quiet.
Every last one of them.
To keep you quiet.
And it's not going, I didn't need it.
Did you ever
You
take
talking about, hell no. You talking about $25,000.
And you making $1 million every 45
But see, they didn't know it.
I didn't know it.
I kept a lot of that purposefully. I kept it quiet and just kept, where you can see the camera, just that thing. It wasn't until I began to do reading things my way on my platform that showed my house, my car. And so, wait a minute. How did this happen?
I'll tell you when I knew. When you did that conference and spent $250,000 just on like set design. I was like, how much is making?
What I generate, I put back into.
You really do. Excellent.
Absolutely. You do it for the people. Yeah. So, but the reality is they're all punks. They talk, and because they deal with church people, and church is a bubble and it has its own brain and its own culture.
So nobody ever tried.
And sadly to say that it really keeps church people out of reality and what is really real. And so in their own world. And when I say I'm a part of the church, the spiritual church, but not the institution.
What's the spiritual church versus the institution?
It's the true church. The institution is man-made.
Okay.
It's man's idea to create, to give God glory, and it's great and it's plausible.
Okay.
But the reality is when you see that something becomes absolute.
So you think in this current state, the church is absolute?
You can tell.
I mean, I see the movement, I see the kids.
But I said
no. I like Steve Furtick. I like what that. I like to see the multicultural thing going.
I like Steve at first, but I don't like for me. I can't stand for.
I love Bishop Bronner too. Oh, Lord.
He's a very nice man. His wife is extremely nice. Yeah. But my thing is, and I'm not saying I don't like Stephen. I'm just saying I have a thing with white pastors. It's just what it is.
Really?
White pastor with black members. I have a problem.
Is that racist?
It's not racist. I can't be racist because I am a minority. The only people who can be racist is a white person. You know, but my
you
thing
can be biased.
I could be prejudiced, but I'm not even that. No, I'm just clear. Because if you are a white pastor and you are not in the movement of social justice and you do not have black people in your leadership, you are master. Plain and simple.
So what do we say about the white pastors who actually have black people in leadership?
Thank God for them. That's great.
But they still master.
But they need to be sitting right beside you, and they need to be a part of the leadership. Don't play with me. It needs to be a part of the real leadership.
So give me an example of like what, in your opinion, the true church is, though.
The true church.
Like, is there like a church that you like? This pastor, this guy, like true church.
Oh yeah. There's some pastors that I absolutely love and I like what they do. They are. I'm not gonna name them because they ain't paying me. But
I need to know what you think. Well,
I can text you. I can tell you.
That's
I can tell you. But no, I'm not putting it out there like this. You got a platform. I am not giving you no free advertisement.
See, that's the $1 million in 45 days. He is a relentless businessman, as you can see.
Exactly.
No sponsors.
Yeah. You pay me, I advertise. That's why I did for my spiritual father. He wasn't at the time, Bishop Bernard Jordan. He wasn't at the time.
It's everybody he touched, they winning.
If they listen to him, he's a coach.
Millions, trillions, billions.
Travis Muller. Hold on, that wasn't Bishop Jordan doing. That's my doing.
Oh, that was you.
You asked Travis.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I woke up in the middle of the night. He was working at some church. I told him to stop fooling them church folk with that money. Yeah. I said, you more than that.
Yeah.
I woke up in the middle of the night. And I said, you're going to get an opportunity, an idea. I forgot. He'll tell you if he tell the truth.
Yeah.
That's Larry Reid. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you touch a whole lot of different subjects.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't believe ain't nobody never tried to come for you too. I just knew you was going to be like, it was just one guy. So do you go with like security? Do you walk around with security?
They make me do it because I sort of like fights.
What?
So sometimes I sneak away by myself just to see what is going to happen. Go to Lennox and let's go by myself. Then where you at? I'm out here. You know, that's that thing. I've been like that since I was a child.
So how did you get so unbothered? So here's the thing. When I came from the hip hop world and I came over here, it was like, not that I even was on business, but I was looking for a place of refuge. Like I just needed a place of like, man, we finally all together with Jesus. But then I noticed that it was such a business and it was just as relentless when it came to the business as it was for me trying to get a #1 record. Yeah. And so it's almost like when you walk in the room and this pastor's there and you're starting to get this platform and you starting to blow up, like you almost become a little bit more careful with how you present it. Like how did the unbothered Larry Reid birth, knowing that you traditional pastor? Like, do you think it's because you're so financially free that you're able to do it, or is that just your natural character?
Good question. That came later, that level of financial freedom. But it's been a part of my character, according to Ethelene Reid, my mama. She said
Reid, she don't play.
She said I was always like that. Yeah. My daddy says I'm like his daddy who was like that. Yeah. You know, so it has been a part of my character. So that plays a big part in it. My love for people is really what makes me fearless.
I believe
because I think people deserve the truth. They deserve to know the truth, and they deserve for you not to deal with them without any airs. So when I come into those situations, and it happens a lot now because I have to where I gotta go where the preachers and the gospel artists are, who are all of them I love, but I know what they think. You know, so I have to come into those arenas. They're people. So a lot, and most of them now, thankfully, they understand what I do. It's just hard to hear somebody's opinion about you because in the church, we don't really teach pastors and preachers and artists how to receive criticism. And what I do is basically...
Did somebody teach you that, or you just always had it internally?
I I just always been like this. I mean,
Yeah, cause see, I went to therapy. I got 2 speeds back before therapy, 1 and 100. That's why I was so genuinely nice. Cause I know I used to tell my former wife, I'm gonna mess this up if he say the wrong thing. Cause I'm gonna come so genuine, and I just know you're supposed to reciprocate my genuineness and my love. And then if you like snarling at me, now it's like, okay, my guy, like you said what you said.
Yeah.
But I've always really honored your bravery.
Okay, I'm not gonna start anything with you. Now somebody say, well, that's not true. Well, my thing is, my job is commentary. So if you get mad about my commentary, I guess you can say I'm starting it with you. But if you're gonna come back at me for doing my job, especially when your job, most preachers, is you in the pulpit going off on people all the time.
So LGBTQ community and church.
Yeah. I'm my ally.
You are ally. I never knew your stance or what have you. Why an ally? And what should people know about that community? Well, so here's the thing. I just started sharing this. I just started sharing that I was molested as a child. And I had a choice.
By a man or woman?
I was molested by both. And it just so happened I became hypersexual towards women.
Which is the same energy.
Yep. Like I was hypersexual towards women. And that's how I became this R&B guy and all this other stuff. But I know people who chose to be hypersexual towards the other way. But then they all got to go to the same house. What does Larry Reid say about that?
Well, about that, I don't think in every situation that you've been violated as a child makes you become this or that as relates to whether you're going to be same gender loving or not. I do think that it affects your behavior. Whether you are same gender loving or not. I do believe that because it affected me like that. What ended up happening, I chose pornography as my go-to, and it was terribly severe. To the point to where, and I can say it regular here, right? That's what you said now.
Yeah, no, you. We good. No worries.
As long as I and consistently, I didn't really need to eat.
You didn't need to eat?
No. So I was already
You had a problem.
You had a problem.
I'm just saying, hell, I'm a judge. I'm a judge.
Because you tell me be real, then I tell you my testimony.
I'm just talking about this. Man, he couldn't eat. Like I at least went to go out to eat.
Oh, so you were better than me.
I'm messing with you. I love you. I love you, but I didn't. I've never heard this that he didn't go eat. Go ahead. I love you. Go, bro. Go.
I ain't gonna tell my testimony.
No, finish. I promise. I just had to put that joke in. It hit me low. I was like, you didn't eat no food? Okay. Didn't eat no food. I'm like, what did he just say? He didn't eat no food?
Will, if my soul was weak,
okay, go ahead, man. Go ahead. But it felt you were able to feel your appetite.
Maybe you ain't had no good. Have you ever had a good?
Of course.
If you had a good, you understand what I'm talking about.
I'm still gonna be hungry afterwards. Praise be to God, because I eat. I got to feed these muscles at some point. A glass of water or something, a Shakeology. But no. But please tell the story.
Okay, so I will always say and I mentored him for years. I would say that I was a sex addict because if you can replace that thing can replace what should be a natural behavior, then you probably got a little bit of a problem. Yeah. And so that went on for a while. I don't think that the church is a safe place for addicts. I don't think it's a safe place for women. And I don't think it's a safe place for same gender loving people. I'm not saying all churches, but I'm speaking generally. I don't. If I say trust the church that has in its leadership the gender that represents you, I say trust the church that has the race at the leadership that represents you. I say trust, those are safe havens for you. But then generally, women, same gender loving, church is not a safe place for you.
And when you say that's safe, what's not safe about it?
It's not equipped. In our religion, Christianity that we practice here in the West, now how religion and Christianity was practiced in Africa is totally different. But how, not Africa now, colonized Africa, but Africa, Ethiopia, which is the oldest complete Bible that we have, 800 years predates the King James Version. Yeah,
and they drink, and you can read it with coffee. I love coffee over there. I love coffee.
But the way we practice it here, it's set up for white people. and black and black people, you know, we shout and we buck, you know, with our African selves in it, but our theology is not set for the disenfranchised. It's not set for those that are in pain, in need of a savior that does not have any biases himself.
Right.
Yeah.
What type of church will Larry go to?
Mine.
And which kind of church is that?
More Love You More podcast after this.
Although years had passed, I would often think about my biological mother.
How did you think that being adopted and never having met your biological parents, that you was okay?
Like, what did she look like? What was her name? Did she ever think of me? I opened the birth certificate and I get it. And I look at the name for the child and I realized that I did not have a name. Although she had refused to meet me, I wondered those things. But in 2019, I received word from the adoption agency through an email that my biological mom was dead.
For most of us, we get a funeral as a point of closure for our loved ones. Even if he had feelings and wanted to know about himself and get more meaning to himself and put together some pieces of the puzzle of his life that he was not able to put together, that may never happen.
A popular St. Louis rapper dies in an overnight shooting. It happened in Kinloch.
She put me up for adoption. She refused to meet me. And then she died on me.
After he told me her name, I got really curious.
She called me and she was just like, I think I found the person who could possibly be your brother. I needed to meet him. And then she added a caveat. She said she's not dead. Your grandmama's dead, but your mama. But my mom wasn't dead. Do me a favor, log on to loveyoumore.com. Partner with us for your chance to watch the new movie, The Missing Piece. And of course, I'm in that community every single day. All you got to do is click that little link that says partner, and a portion of the proceed is going to go to the Will Flow Foundation, where we create educational content centered around adoption and foster care. Now, that other little piece of the money that you'll be giving goes to a black family. Mine. Praise the Lord. Flat out. Go to loveyoumore.com right now.
Love you more, love you more, love you more.
Now back to the Love You More podcast.
What type of church will Larry go to?
Mine.
And which kind of church is that?
It is Reformation Church of Atlanta.
So is that a church that speaks to male, female?
And yes, in my leadership, my head intercessor is a lesbian and will pray all of your women preachers you can ever think of up on the table.
So the sexuality, so sexuality cannot block what God is doing.
What can block what God is doing is sin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see,
is that sin?
No. It can be for some.
Okay.
See, sin, this is what I teach. Sin is irrational thinking, number one.
Okay.
Number two, sin is anything that harms you. Number three, sin is anything that harms anybody else. And fourthly, and probably the most important, sin is anything that is less than what is God's will of good for you. So all that list of drinking, smoking, all that made up by white folk, that ain't it.
Well, the prophet said we can have some. No, I'm just playing. Go ahead. And I'm like,
but this is the reason why there's so much sin in the church, because they do not understand what sin is. Sin is a separator from God who is good. So if it separates you from God that is good, then that is what sin is. You know, and if it harms somebody else, that just wipes out half of the church, because we're the most harmful people with our gospel. you know, so those are the things that I teach and that people have ascribed to who couldn't live right in regular church and come over to my church where it's so free, and they live better lives and they make better choices for their health, their body, sexually. They're not out here being promiscuous and all those things, but we doing that in the church.
Yeah. So is that the Larry Reid Live community?
Yes.
The online stuff.
See, Larry Reid Live is a fishing pole.
bring people in.
Yes, it's my lead generator.
Okay.
You know, and always has been. Because remember, I say every entrepreneur needs to know partnership.
Yeah.
So I've done that since the
$1 million,
show started.
45 days, all the time. That's
Yeah.
what happened. So now you've made a substantial amount of money. You got a really dope footprint. You know, you can't really bring up any vlogger. You got the Shade Room, you got Tasha K, and now you got like, it's always unique to me. They'd be like, Larry Reid. And I'd be like, and I just listen. You know, I just listen because I'm privy to these type of conversations because of the radio platform. I get an opportunity to hear how powerful the platform has become. You finally got an opportunity to put pen to pad and write a book.
Yeah.
What's in this book? And what type of people are really going to connect to this book? Because I know when you sell, if it's 10,000 to be a New York Times bestseller, he just going to click a button.
But you know, let me tell you, I like shaking up systems because I've done this with gospel music because they want to let me in. So what I did, I fired all y'all, you know who you are. I fired y'all and then I promoted my own stuff to the top of the billboard. Yeah. You know, so I may not even, like the last projects I released, I didn't even register them properly and put them through all the channels to end up there at the Stellar Awards. Yeah. I didn't do all that. I don't want to kiss no ass. Yeah. I don't want to do that. I don't want to play no game.
Is Larry scarred from all that or you just who you are?
No, I'm not scarred from it. I'm very aware. Very aware. So I often tell other art like yourself, you don't need that. Yeah. People, who else I've had? I've had Yolanda. I've had everybody in y'all. I have everybody on my platform. Yeah. Y'all don't need any of that. You have social media. That's it. And you're a brand. Yeah. You do not need any of that. I was just on the BET show. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If you just lock in to what it is that you know you're supposed to be doing, and then you make partnership and people your priority, partnership with people. That's it. I mean, because people are going to put you where you need to get. Yeah. Yeah. And so everything that I do is for the betterment of people, beginning with laughter and then a little learning I drop in there. And those people that catch those seeds of learning, they left Larry Live and met me in Patreon. And then in Patreon, I had to start Reformation Church of Atlanta. Yeah.
So is the book going to kind of share your journey or are these different stories?
Glad you asked. The book, what it's going to do, it's called Church Critic, because I want people to be very clear on, and which is poured out in our conversation, I'm very passionate about the reformation of the church. Mm-hmm. And so I'm sort of trying to get them to think Larry Live, think Church Critic. And what I do and have done right in front of everybody's face without them knowing it is choosing the stories that were public that will make me have a conversation. There are 3 Atlanta pastors that is in Atlanta, mega church pastors. All 3 of them are hiding children. They're sending money.
They're hiding children?
Yes, they're sending money to the baby mamas, but they don't speak them. So they're fatherless. They have bastards, but they're spiritual fathers. You know there's some.
And are these the pastors who offer to give you $25,000 to be quiet? Or are you going to reveal who they are in the book? Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do that.
You're not going to do
They know who they are. We've talked.
Oh, they've called.
They know who they are. They're in the book, but I don't name them. I don't name them in the book.
Why do you keep them silent if you feel so passionate about what they're not doing?
Because the fatherlessness is what's important. Them ain't that important. What's important? What's important is that you a whole pastor and nothing in you feel like that you should be taking care of your black son or your black daughter. Yeah, I can't respect you ever at all. They know I do not speak unless I know it's the truth. Yeah. So if I've seen the DNA report, what you gonna tell me?
So who sends you this stuff?
There are LRLers everywhere, even in the White House. I get information I'm not supposed to get.
Even in the White House?
Even in the White House and with the IRS and with FBI. That's it. So
partnership.
That's where partnership. So if I'm sitting in front of that camera, everybody feels like I'm their best friend or their uncle or something. Yeah. So they trust me. And they trust me more when they know they tell me stuff and I don't tell it. It never comes to my show, you know, I wait till it becomes public. And then I may not even tell all of that. I tell a piece to protect those that have shared with me. So listen, I have been in the courtroom and they trying to make me tell my source. And the judge won't make me tell it. So
it's still a level of character and integrity.
Hell yeah. I'm an integral person. I have a lot of character, so I'm not going to operate any kind of funny backdoor kind of way. If I tell you I'm not telling nobody, I'm not telling nobody. Because I just don't operate like that. I want to have the conversation.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why me putting these pastors' names out is not important. The story about fatherlessness and then you still pastoring.
Being a spiritual father.
That's the conversation that I want to have. And so the book is going to let people know, oh, hold on. We've been laughing and cutting up and shot at what he's saying, but he has been strategically doing every last one of these shows. And so I'm going to tell it. And I'm going to talk about fatherlessness, the percentages, women that are, there's like a whole sex ring in the church.
No, I don't know nothing about that, man. I come from the neighborhood, man. I can't believe nothing you saying. God,
y'all believe that? I don't believe that.
You done turned my stomach.
You lying.
No, I promise I didn't know no sex ring. Never.
Okay,
I was out one time and it was like, I wear my stuff the way I wear my stuff. And I remember one time and when I was with my ex and I was, somebody said something a little out the way and I just looked him in the face and I said, don't nobody ever try me like that, champ. And then she was like, this and it was like, and then I had to put my face back on because I was like, wait a minute, I'm over here now, so I need to kind of keep it cool. And I think from that moment on, it's like the word kind of got out that like I could be a little intense because this was like, I don't think people realize like Jesus is like I really came here for him. Like I didn't come to be
that white Jesus. I hope it's not.
Shut up.
It can't be white Jesus.
Did you see how deep I was about to go?
I just can't with white
this
Jesus.
This man won't let nobody get it. I was about to cry. This is a good podcast moment. I was going to cry.
Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
My Jesus is black. He wears cornrows over here in my Christianity.
When your book come out? When your book coming out? And I don't know when you're watching this, but his book probably out now. And it's called Church Critic. This is another alias from Larry Reid Live. Hey Larry, Keisha Mims from my Patreon community. She's from Duval County. She sent a message. She says, how does he find out all his information?
The women always come to me. Yeah. They always come to me. But they know I know. These pastors, they know. I'm talking about it here. When they watch this, you don't have to be scared, pastor. I'm not going to tell nobody publicly who you is. I will privately. But I'm not going to tell nobody publicly who you are. I don't think that's important. What's most important is getting you to change your darn ways. But what I'm saying is you need to be in that child's life.
Wow.
That's what you need. Because that child is living without validation, affirmation from the father.
Yeah.
The parent is the first face of God a child sees. So when you f*** up as a parent, you f*** up their God concept and their concept of self. So how you going to be in the business of ministering and not being a minister to your seed? You have betrayed your seed. And you're dead wrong. And I don't know why these prophets come into y'all church and prophesy over y'all. Dang the prophets I come from. The prophets I come from, we hate to see them come in the church and we scared.
Because they're going to call it out.
And start doing that stuff in service. Like, oh, somebody about to die. Somebody sin.
Because they're not giving the massage word.
Yeah, they're getting money. They're raising money. I don't have to play any of those games anymore. I'm so thankful.
That's got to be really dope in ministry. Because I made money from music and other things. But for you to just be so free in this, I think people got a better understanding of why you are who you are. I think people really understand how necessary it is.
Yo, that's a
I think
great
that's
word.
what I discovered when I came. I was like, oh, he necessary.
That's a great word.
That's just fun. Like you got a lot of fun and games. And I'm, this the podcast, we gonna keep it real. Like I'll be like, man, that was messy, that was crazy. But I've literally seen some people that you can destroy or at least share the truth. And even now, just like, no, like I really want to highlight that point because when I was just in the barbershop and I was telling some of the people that we're gonna have on the show, and I was like, you heard of Larry Reid? And the barber said, that's his dad the pastor. That's every pastor's worst nightmare right there. That gonna tell it. He said, that gonna tell it. And I was like,
oh, Lord.
Okay. But he's gonna be on there. I'm like, what you talking about? I'm like, I want people to really know like how he started and sitting in the bedroom with no bed and like, writing all this stuff on the wall, putting all this stuff on the wall and really watching the hand of the Lord move the way it is. But
More Love You More podcast after this.
all relationships start off beautiful. The love is so intense in the beginning until life happens. No matter how disciplined you are, temptation is everywhere. And we all have to fight with our internal monsters. And sometimes we fall into the trap and we hurt the ones we say we love the most. As you get older, loved ones pass away and you're left to live life with a void that you never really anticipated. For some reason, people never talk about the parts of you that die when your loved one leaves the earth. It's so easy to lose who you are in the midst of all of this. I lost myself because I forgot to love myself. I'd like to take you on a journey in hopes that you can learn how to love you more. Wow. To check out the first episode, log on to loveyoumore.com.
Love you more, love you more, love you more.
Now back to the Love You More podcast.
Okay, I feel like I left out something.
What you want to talk about? Like whatever else you want to give, just give. I see they was blinking me like a comedian.
It's all right. It's
No,
fine.
what else?
I don't know. It seemed like there was something. Seemed like I left something out. I didn't finish saying something. But anyway, we can have another conversation another time.
You touched that. You got the entrepreneur stuff. I wanted them to see how you came in. You talked a little bit about divorce.
Yeah.
You said, could you keep it real? You did. You didn't tell on the pastors. You wasn't no snitch. At least he wasn't no snitch. He didn't snitch. He didn't snitch. So that's integrity. You got an actual book release date?
I'm going to release it to my partners first.
See? The word, partners. KD, Did you hear what he said? We got to get us some partners. He said he made $1 million in 45 days, multiple times.
Yeah, it did happen. And to God be the glory.
Come on, do the church thing. And you pat your own self on the back too. He
Yeah,
get the
because the two
glory.
go together. Okay, so that's right. Don't do one or the other. It's weird.
Yeah.
Talking about to God be the glory. Ain't it you singing?
That's
that
what
don't
he
make
did
no
to me.
sense.
That's what he did to me. I went to something like every time, like, cause you're doing, he said some good stuff. Like, to God
You remember
be the
you
glory.
said it on my show.
Yeah,
I
he's
said,
like,
why you say that? Boy?
Why you keep on giving God the glory? I said, this is not the Christian show I thought it was. Pastor.
I said, you the one did
You the one did it. No, the Lord. No, the good Lord. But no, what's the book, like to those of you who are just kind of, following from other things, how do they find you on social media? How do they connect with you?
Thankfully, you just type in Larry Live anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's on Twitter, IG, Facebook, YouTube. We air simultaneously on Facebook and on YouTube at the same time. So IG only get clips, but you can follow me on IG, and I put some clips up there from the main long form shows.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. So family, listen, Love You More podcast essentially is an opportunity for you to get a bird's eye view with people that you see, people who are making influence in the world, people who are making impact in the world, and ultimately seeing people who actually love themselves. Here's the thing. I hear from women all the time, because of my children, I lost myself. Because of my marriage, I lost myself. Because of my weight, I lost myself. Whatever that thing may be, I want you to understand that there's something so beautiful and special on the inside of you that you have to learn to love. To be honest, before we got on here, I was telling my guy Dave, I was like, man, make sure I ain't looking too frumpy. And KD said, man, I remember looking like that and had the same issue. Now I got this. And it was like an aha moment for me. That moments quickly become memories. And if you don't enjoy the moment, you won't enjoy the memory.
Yeah.
So make sure you enjoy every moment and learn to love you more. Flat out.
Love you more, love you more, love